Hey there. Tonight we're talking about how a boring village weaver in 1700 Scotland transformed his simple craft into a thriving textile empire that brought prosperity not just to himself, but to his entire Highland community. Discovering that true wealth flows when you weave your passion with purpose and never stop believing in the golden threads of possibility that run through every moment of your life. Before you drift off, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if this kind of transformative deep sleep hypnosis speaks to you. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and how many days in a row you've been on this manifestation journey. I love seeing how committed this community is becoming. Now dim the lights, get comfortable, and let your mind absorb abundance. The summer evening air carries the scent of heather and wild roses across the Scottish Highlands as you find yourself standing on a gentle hillside overlooking the village of Glenweave, watching the golden light of sunset paint the stone cottages in shades of amber and warmth. And as you breathe in the crisp mountain air that speaks of ancient mysteries and endless possibilities, you realize that you are Alistair MacLeod, a 25-year-old weaver whose skilled hands have been crafting fabric since you were barely tall enough to reach the loom. And tonight, as the peaceful sounds of evening settle around you like a comfortable blanket woven from the softest Highland wool, you're about to discover how the threads of your destiny are about to weave themselves into patterns of prosperity beyond anything you've ever imagined possible. The village below you spreads out like a tapestry itself, with smoke rising from the chimneys in gentle spirals that catch the golden light. And as you observe this scene of pastoral tranquility, you feel something stirring deep within you, a recognition that tonight marks the beginning of a transformation that will affect not only your own life, but the lives of everyone whose path crosses yours in the years to come. And this knowing fills you with a sense of anticipation and excitement that seems to resonate with the very air around you, charged with possibility and pregnant with the promise of abundance that flows naturally when a person aligns their deepest talents with their truest purpose. You begin to walk down the winding path toward your cottage, each step carrying you closer to the moment when everything in your life will shift into a new pattern of prosperity and success. And as you move through the heather and gorse that line the narrow track, you become increasingly aware of how the evening light transforms everything it touches, turning ordinary stones into jewels and common wildflowers into precious ornaments that sparkle with dew and reflected sunlight. Your cottage sits nestled between two ancient oak trees whose branches create a protective canopy overhead, their leaves rustling softly in the gentle breeze that carries the sounds of sheep calling to each other across the moors, and the distant splash of water tumbling over rocks in the stream that winds through the valley below. And as you approach your door, you notice how the warm light spilling from the windows creates dancing shadows on the cobblestone path, patterns that seem to shift and change like the designs you weave into your fabrics. And you find yourself naturally beginning to relax even more deeply as you realize that this evening, this perfect Highland evening, is going to be the beginning of everything changing for the better in ways that will exceed your most optimistic dreams and expectations. As you push open the heavy wooden door and step into the familiar warmth of your workshop, you're immediately enveloped by the comforting sense of wool and wood and the lingering trace of the peat fire that provides heat during the cooler months, and your eyes automatically adjust to the soft glow of several oil lamps that cast gentle shadows across the wooden beams of the ceiling and illuminate your loom, which stands waiting in the center of the room like an old friend, ready to help you create magic with your hands and your heart and your unwavering commitment to excellence in everything you do. The interior of your cottage reflects years of careful attention to creating a space that nurtures both creativity and productivity. With wooden shelves lining the walls to hold your collection of threads and yarns in every color imaginable, from the deep purples and blues that come from berries and roots found in the highland forests, to the bright yellows and oranges that are extracted from flowers that bloom only in the brief summer months when the sun seems to shine almost continuously. And as you move through this familiar space, checking your supplies and preparing for the evening's work, you feel your body naturally settling into the rhythm of preparation that signals to your subconscious mind that it's time to enter that special state of focused creativity where time seems to expand and contract according to the needs of your artistic vision. Tonight feels different somehow, charged with an energy that seems to pulse through the very air around you. And as you run your fingers across the various skeins of wool and linen, arranged with careful precision on the wooden shelves that line the walls of your workshop, you find yourself naturally drawn to a particular bundle of thread that seems to shimmer with an unusual golden hue in the lamplight, catching and reflecting the flame in ways that create tiny dancing points of light that seem almost alive with their own inner fire. You lift this bundle carefully, feeling its weight in your hands and immediately noticing how different it feels from any thread you've ever worked with before. Smoother somehow, with a subtle luminescence that seems to pulse with life and possibility. And as you examine it more closely, you realize this isn't ordinary wool at all, but something far more special. Thread that was spun from the fleece of sheep that grazed on the high mountain pastures, where the morning mist catches the sunlight and creates rainbows in the air, where the grass grows thick and rich from soil that has been nourished by centuries of highland storms and sunshine, creating conditions that somehow imbue the wool with properties that transcend the merely physical to touch something deeper, something that speaks to the part of you that has always known you were destined for greatness if you could only find the right opportunity to express your talents fully. As you begin to wind this extraordinary thread onto your bobbin, the repetitive motion creates a hypnotic rhythm that seems to synchronize with the beating of your heart, and you find yourself naturally settling into an even deeper state of relaxation, your breathing becoming slower and more rhythmic as your conscious mind begins to quiet, and your deeper wisdom starts to emerge. The part of you that has always understood that true prosperity comes not from chasing after money, but from following your passion with such dedication and skill that abundance naturally flows to you as a result of the value you create for others. The golden thread seems to grow even more luminous as these thoughts flow through your mind, and you begin to understand that this thread isn't just material for weaving, but a symbol of all the golden opportunities that are already beginning to weave themselves into the fabric of your life, opportunities that have been waiting for you to develop the skills and confidence necessary to recognize and seize them when they appear. And as this understanding deepens within you, you feel a sense of excitement and anticipation building in your chest, a recognition that tonight's work will be unlike anything you've ever created before. You begin to set up your loom with careful, deliberate movements, each action performed with the precision and care that comes from years of practice and refinement. And as you thread the warp with alternating strands of natural wool and the special golden thread, you find yourself naturally entering an even deeper state of calm focus, where your hands seem to know exactly what to do without conscious direction from your thinking mind. The process of setting up the loom requires such concentration that all other thoughts fade away, leaving only the immediate reality of thread and tension and the gradual emergence of the pattern that will soon begin to take shape under your skilled hands. And with each adjustment you make to ensure perfect alignment and proper tension, you feel yourself naturally aligning with the energy of abundance that surrounds you always. the invisible threads of prosperity that connect all things and are always ready to support you in creating the life of your dreams, if you have the courage and determination to reach for them. The cottage fills with a sense of anticipation as you prepare to begin weaving, and you can feel that tonight's work will be unlike anything you've ever created before, that the fabric emerging from your loom will possess qualities that will astonish everyone who sees it and open doors to opportunities that you've only dared to imagine in your most optimistic moments. As you sit at your loom and lift the shuttle for the first pass, feeling the familiar weight of the tool that has been shaped by countless hours of use until it fits your hand as perfectly as if it were made specifically for you, you feel a surge of confidence flowing through you, a deep knowing that your hands were made for this work, that every fiber of your being is naturally aligned with the creation of beauty and abundance, and that tonight marks the beginning of a transformation that will affect every aspect of your life in the most positive and wonderful ways imaginable. The first thread passes smoothly through the warp, creating the beginning of what you somehow know will become your masterpiece. And as you continue weaving, passing the shuttle back and forth in the ancient rhythm that has connected weavers across centuries and continents, you find yourself naturally entering a trance-like state where time seems to slow down and expand, where each movement of your hands becomes part of a larger dance of creation that connects you to something far greater than yourself. The golden thread catches the lamplight with each pass, creating patterns of light that seem to dance across the emerging fabric. And as you watch these patterns form and shift with each addition to the growing cloth, you begin to see something extraordinary happening before your eyes, something that fills you with wonder and excitement, and a growing understanding that you are participating in something truly magical. The fabric isn't just displaying the geometric patterns you planned, but seems to be creating images all on its own, landscapes and scenes that shift and change as the light moves across the threads. And you realize that this golden thread possesses properties unlike anything you've ever worked with before, qualities that transform ordinary weaving into something approaching magic, something that speaks to the deepest parts of the human soul and awakens feelings of wonder and possibility that most people have forgotten they possess. Hours pass without your notice as you continue working, completely absorbed in the rhythm of the shuttle and the gradual emergence of the most beautiful fabric you've ever seen. And as the evening deepens around you and the sounds of the village fade into peaceful quiet, you find your breathing naturally slowing even further, your body settling into the chair with perfect comfort as your hands continue their skilled movements almost without conscious direction. The repetitive motion of weaving creates a hypnotic effect that allows your mind to drift into a space of pure creativity and possibility, where limitations dissolve and you can clearly see the prosperous future that awaits you, a future where your talents are recognized and rewarded, where your work brings joy and beauty into the lives of countless people, where abundance flows to you easily and naturally as a result of the value you create and the passion you bring to everything you do. The fabric growing on your loom seems to glow with its own inner light, and as you pause to examine your work, you're amazed to see that the golden thread has created patterns so intricate and beautiful that they seem almost three-dimensional, as if the fabric contains entire worlds waiting to be discovered by those with the vision to see them. And you begin to understand that you're not just creating fabric, but crafting your pathway to prosperity, weaving your dreams into tangible form with every pass of the shuttle, every careful adjustment of the tension, every moment of focused attention that you bring to this work that you love more than anything else in the world. As the first light of dawn begins to filter through the small windows of your cottage, painting everything in shades of rose and gold that seem to echo the colors woven into the extraordinary fabric on your loom, you find yourself naturally beginning to emerge from the deeply focused state that has carried you through the night. And as you look at what you've created during those hours of inspired work, you feel a sense of accomplishment and wonder that fills your entire being with warmth and satisfaction, so complete that it seems to radiate outward from your heart to touch every corner of your existence. The piece on your loom exceeds anything you've ever imagined possible, displaying patterns of such complexity and beauty that they seem to shift and change as you look at them, creating an almost hypnotic effect that draws the eye deeper and deeper into the intricate relationships between colors and textures that you've somehow managed to weave together into a harmony that speaks to something fundamental about the nature of beauty and perfection, and the unlimited creative potential that exists within every human being who has the courage to pursue their dreams with unwavering dedication. You carefully remove the finished piece from the loom, handling it with the reverence it deserves. And as you hold it up to catch the morning light streaming through the window, the fabric seems to come alive in your hands, the golden threads creating an almost hypnotic display of shimmering patterns that dance before your eyes like living things celebrating their own existence. And the weight of the fabric feels substantial, yet refined. Speaking of quality, that will be immediately apparent to anyone who has the privilege of seeing and touching this remarkable creation. As you fold it carefully and wrap it in clean linen to protect it during transport, you feel excitement building in your chest like a warm fire that spreads through your entire body, filling you with energy and anticipation as you prepare to take this masterpiece to market and discover what kind of reception awaits something so extraordinary and unprecedented in the world of Highland textiles. Your journey to the village marketplace takes you along familiar paths that wind through the heather-covered hills where sheep graze peacefully in the early morning mist. And as you walk, carrying your precious cargo in a leather satchel slung across your shoulder, you find yourself naturally falling into a rhythm of movement that mirrors the weaving motions you've practiced for so many years, each step connecting you more deeply to the earth beneath your feet and the endless sky above your head, while the gentle swaying motion of your body as you navigate the uneven terrain creates a kind of walking meditation that allows your mind to drift into thoughts of possibility and potential that seem as limitless as the highland landscape stretching out in all directions around you. The morning air is crisp and clean, filled with the sounds of birds calling to each other across the moors, and the distant bleating of sheep, and the soft whisper of wind through the grass. And with each step you take toward the village, you feel your confidence growing stronger, a deep knowing that today marks the beginning of a transformation that will affect not just your own life, but the lives of everyone in your community who will benefit from the prosperity and opportunities that are about to flow into this peaceful corner of Scotland. The marketplace is already bustling with activity when you arrive, merchants setting up their stalls with practiced efficiency, while early customers browse among the various wares on display. And as you make your way toward the section where textiles are traditionally sold, you notice how people's eyes are naturally drawn to the satchel you carry, as if they can sense that it contains something extraordinary, even though they haven't yet seen what lies within its protective wrapping. You nod politely to the other weavers and craftspeople you know, feeling a sense of kinship with these hard-working individuals who, like you, are following their passion while building their prosperity through the skilled work of their hands. And as you observe their displays of wool and linen and the various woven goods they've created, you feel a moment of nervousness, wondering how your work will compare to theirs. But this uncertainty quickly gives way to confidence as you remember the extraordinary nature of what you've brought to market today. You find an empty space near the center of the textile area and begin to set up your small display, unfolding a simple wooden table that has served you well for many previous market days and covering it with a piece of plain wool that will provide the perfect contrast for the extraordinary fabric you're about to reveal to the world. As you begin to unwrap your creation, several nearby merchants pause in their own preparations to watch, drawn by some indefinable quality in your movements that suggests something significant is about to be revealed. And when you finally unfold the golden threaded fabric and let it cascade across the table in all its shimmering glory, a hush falls over the immediate area as everyone stops what they're doing to stare at the magnificent display before them, their faces showing expressions of wonder and amazement that confirm what you already knew about the extraordinary nature of your work. The fabric seems to capture and reflect every ray of sunlight that touches it, creating patterns of light that shift and flow like liquid gold across its surface. And you watch with growing satisfaction as people begin to gather around your table, their faces illuminated not just by the reflected light from your creation, but by the joy and wonder that true beauty always awakens in the human heart when it's encountered unexpectedly in the midst of ordinary daily life. Word spreads quickly through the marketplace with the kind of electric energy that accompanies truly remarkable discoveries. And soon, a small crowd has formed around your display, with merchants and customers alike pressing closer to get a better look at the fabric that seems to possess almost magical properties, their voices creating a buzz of excitement and speculation that draws even more people to investigate what could possibly be causing such a commotion in the usually orderly textile section. Among the crowd that has gathered to marvel at your creation, you notice a well-dressed man who stands slightly apart from the others, his expensive clothing and confident bearing marking him as someone of considerable importance and means. And unlike the others who are openly expressing their amazement and delight, he studies your fabric with the practiced eye of someone who knows quality when he sees it, examining not just its obvious beauty, but its construction and the technical skill required to achieve such remarkable results. After several minutes of careful examination, during which you feel increasingly anxious about his assessment, he approaches your table with a smile that immediately puts you at ease and speaks in a cultured voice that carries the slight accent of Edinburgh. "Young man, I am Duncan McBride, textile merchant to some of the finest houses in Scotland, and I must tell you that in 30 years of dealing in fabrics from the mills of England and the workshops of France, I have never seen anything quite like this extraordinary creation you have before me today." Your heart pounds with excitement as you realize that this chance encounter represents exactly the kind of opportunity you've been unconsciously preparing for throughout your entire career. And as you engage in conversation with Duncan McBride, you find yourself naturally expressing your passion for your craft with a confidence and eloquence that surprises even you, describing the special properties of the golden thread and explaining how it seems to enhance and transform any pattern woven with it, creating effects that go far beyond what should be possible with ordinary materials and conventional techniques. As you speak, you can see the genuine interest and excitement growing in the merchant's eyes, and you realize that he understands not just the commercial potential of your work, but its artistic significance, the way it pushes the boundaries of what textile art can achieve and opens up entirely new possibilities for creative expression within the ancient craft of weaving. Duncan examines the fabric even more closely, running his experienced fingers across the surface to assess its texture and construction. holding it up to the light to study how the golden threads interact with the other materials, and testing its drape and weight with the practiced movements of someone who has handled countless fabrics throughout his long career. And with each moment that passes, his appreciation for your work becomes more apparent in his expressions and the increasingly animated way he discusses the technical and artistic merits of what you've accomplished. "Tell me," he says finally, his voice carrying an undertone of barely contained excitement, "how much fabric like this could you produce in a month, assuming you had adequate resources and perhaps some assistance with the more routine aspects of the work?" The question catches you slightly off guard, as you hadn't yet thought seriously about large-scale production. But as you consider the possibilities, you find yourself naturally envisioning ways to expand your operation while maintaining the exceptional quality that makes your work so special and valuable. With the right resources and perhaps an apprentice or two to help with preparation and finishing, you hear yourself saying, the words coming from some deep well of confidence that you didn't even know you possessed, "I believe I could produce 20 to 30 pieces of this quality each month, assuming I can secure a steady supply of the special wool and continue to have access to the particular conditions that seem to enhance the properties of the golden thread." Duncan's eyes light up at your response, and he nods approvingly as he begins to outline a proposition that will transform your life in ways you never imagined possible. Speaking of exclusive contracts with noble houses throughout Scotland and northern England, of expansion opportunities that could make you the premier textile producer in all of Britain, of connections with markets in London and even on the continent, where your unique fabrics could command prices that would establish your financial security for life. The negotiations that follow feel almost dreamlike in their positive progression, with Duncan offering terms so generous that you have to remind yourself repeatedly that this is really happening, that your years of dedication and skill development are finally being rewarded in such a magnificent and life-changing way. And as you shake hands on the preliminary agreement that will serve as the foundation for a business relationship destined to bring prosperity beyond your wildest dreams, you feel a surge of gratitude flowing through you, appreciation for all the experiences that have led to this moment, and a deep knowing that this is just the beginning of the abundance and success that are now flowing into your life, like a river that has suddenly broken through the dam that was holding it back. The weeks following your meeting with Duncan McBride pass in a blur of purposeful activity as you begin the process of transforming your small cottage workshop into a proper textile enterprise capable of meeting the demands of the exclusive contracts that now represent your pathway to unprecedented prosperity. And with each passing day, you find yourself naturally settling into the role of not just a craftsman, but a businessman whose vision extends far beyond his own loom to encompass the coordination of resources and people and processes that will allow you to scale your unique capabilities while maintaining the exceptional quality that has attracted such distinguished attention. Duncan has proven to be not just a business partner, but a valuable mentor, sharing insights about markets and opportunities that help you understand the broader landscape of textile production and distribution throughout Scotland and beyond, and his guidance proves invaluable as you navigate the complexities of expanding from individual craftsmanship to something approaching industrial production, while preserving the artisanal qualities that make your work so distinctive and valuable. Your first major decision involves the expansion of your workspace, and after careful consideration of various options, you choose to build a larger workshop adjacent to your cottage, using local stone and timber in a design that honors the traditional architecture of the Highlands, while providing the space and functionality needed for increased production, without sacrificing the peaceful, creative atmosphere that has always been so conducive to your best work. The design process itself becomes an exercise in visualization and planning that strengthens your ability to see potential and turn abstract concepts into concrete reality. And as you work alongside the local builders, participating in every aspect of the construction process, you find yourself naturally developing new skills and capabilities that serve to increase your confidence and sense of competence in all areas of your life. Not just weaving, but project management and leadership, and the ability to coordinate complex undertakings that require the cooperation of many different people working toward a common goal. The process of securing a reliable supply of the special golden wool proves to be an adventure in itself, leading you to establish relationships with shepherds in the highest mountain pastures whose flocks graze in conditions that somehow imbue their wool with the unique properties you've discovered. And these relationships quickly become more than mere business transactions as you develop genuine friendships with these highland folk, whose wisdom about the land and its resources adds depth and richness to your understanding of your craft and your connection to the natural world that provides the raw materials for your art. These shepherds share stories and insights that have been passed down through generations, knowledge about seasonal patterns and weather conditions, and the subtle factors that influence the quality of wool in ways that go far beyond what any textbook could teach. And as you spend time with them in the high pastures, learning to see the landscape through their experienced eyes, you begin to understand that your work is part of a much larger web of relationships and dependencies that connect you to the very essence of Highland life and culture. Training your first apprentices presents both challenges and rewards as you learn to communicate not just the technical aspects of weaving, but the deeper principles that transform ordinary work into something extraordinary. And you discover that teaching others helps to clarify and deepen your own understanding of your craft, forcing you to articulate insights and techniques that you've previously relied on purely through intuition and feel. Your apprentices are young people from the village who show genuine aptitude and enthusiasm for the work. And as you watch them gradually develop their skills under your patient guidance, you feel a sense of pride and satisfaction that goes beyond mere business success to touch something fundamental about the joy of sharing knowledge and nurturing talent, creating a legacy that will extend far beyond your own individual accomplishments to influence generations of weavers who will carry forward the traditions and innovations you're developing. The new workshop takes shape with remarkable speed, and as you install the additional looms and organize the workspace for maximum efficiency, you find yourself naturally visualizing the flow of materials and finished goods that will soon fill this space with productive energy. Each element positioned to take advantage of the natural light streaming through the large windows you've had installed and arranged to create a harmonious environment where the rhythm of multiple weavers can blend together into a symphony of creative productivity. The arrangement creates not just functional efficiency, but an atmosphere that encourages collaboration and mutual support, with each weaver able to observe and learn from the others while maintaining the focus and concentration necessary for the detailed work that produces fabrics of exceptional quality. And as you move through this space during the final stages of preparation, you feel a deep sense of satisfaction at having created something that serves both practical and aesthetic purposes while reflecting your values of excellence and craftsmanship. Your first major order from Duncan arrives just as the workshop reaches completion, a commission for fabrics to furnish the drawing rooms and bedchambers of a castle near Stirling. And as you review the specifications and requirements for this prestigious project, you feel a thrill of excitement at the scope and prestige of the commission that represents more income than you previously earned in an entire year. The order calls for various types of fabric in specific patterns and colorways, each piece designed to complement the others while showcasing the unique properties of your golden thread. And as you begin planning the production schedule with your apprentices, calculating the time and materials needed for each component of the order, you realize that you're no longer thinking like a small craftsman working alone, but like an entrepreneur whose business is destined for continued growth and expansion into markets you're only beginning to imagine. The work itself takes on a meditative quality as you and your team settle into the rhythm of coordinated production, each person focusing on their particular specialty while contributing to the larger goal of creating fabrics of unprecedented beauty and quality. And the sound of multiple shuttles passing through their warps creates a hypnotic backdrop that seems to facilitate a group flow state where time passes unnoticed and productivity reaches levels that surprise even you with their efficiency and excellence. The collaboration required to complete such a large order teaches you valuable lessons about delegation and quality control, about maintaining standards while allowing others to contribute their own talents and perspectives to the work, and about the satisfaction that comes from achieving goals that would be impossible for any individual to accomplish alone, no matter how skilled or dedicated they might be. As the fabrics for the castle commission near completion, you find yourself naturally beginning to think about future opportunities and the strategic decisions that will shape the continued growth of your enterprise, and Duncan's hints about connections with merchants in London and even in France begin to seem not just possible, but inevitable, representing markets where your unique fabrics could command prices that would establish your financial security for generations while spreading your artistic innovations throughout Europe and beyond. The prospect of such expansion fills you with excitement and anticipation, but also with a deep sense of responsibility to maintain the quality and integrity that have made your work so distinctive, and you begin to develop systems and procedures that will ensure consistency and excellence even as production scales to levels you never previously imagined possible. The delivery of the completed commission creates a sensation that exceeds even Duncan's optimistic predictions, with the castle's lady expressing such profound delight with the fabrics that she immediately commissions additional pieces for other rooms throughout the castle and begins recommending your work to her extensive network of noble friends and relatives throughout Scotland and northern England, each recommendation opening doors to new opportunities and markets that represent exponential growth in both recognition and financial reward. Word of your exceptional craftsmanship spreads through the upper echelons of Scottish society with remarkable speed, carried by satisfied customers whose enthusiasm for your work creates a kind of viral marketing effect that no amount of advertising could achieve. And soon, you find yourself fielding inquiries and commissions from households throughout the country, each new order representing not just immediate income, but the potential for ongoing relationships that could sustain your business for decades to come. Your success begins to have a positive impact that extends far beyond your own workshop to affect the entire village of Glenweave and the surrounding Highland communities, as increased demand for your products creates opportunities for local suppliers and support services that benefit dozens of families in ways both direct and indirect, and you feel deep satisfaction in knowing that your prosperity is generating a ripple effect of abundance that touches the lives of people throughout the region. The local wool merchants experience unprecedented growth as you require larger quantities of materials. The village inn benefits from the steady stream of merchants and customers who come to visit your workshop. The blacksmith profits from your need for specialized tools and equipment, and even the local farmers find new markets for their produce, as the increased activity brings more people and commerce to what was previously a quiet backwater, far from the main centers of Scottish economic activity. The relationships you develop with your growing network of customers reveal the deeper satisfaction that comes from creating something that brings genuine joy and beauty into people's lives. As the letters you receive expressing gratitude and delight with your fabrics provide confirmation that your work serves purposes far beyond mere commercial transaction, to touch something fundamental about human appreciation for beauty and excellence and craftsmanship that connects us to our deepest values and aspirations. These personal connections transform business relationships into something approaching friendship. As customers share stories about how your fabrics have enhanced their homes and their lives, creating environments of beauty and comfort that reflect their own values and aesthetic sensibilities, while providing daily reminders of the extraordinary possibilities that exist when human creativity is given full expression through dedication and skill. Duncan's connections with merchants in London begin to bear fruit as samples of your work make their way south to the English capital, where they create excitement among textile dealers who recognize immediately that they're encountering something entirely new and remarkable in the world of fabric production. And the orders that begin flowing north represent not just increased revenue, but validation that your innovations have significance beyond the Scottish market to influence trends and preferences throughout Britain and potentially across Europe. The English market proves particularly lucrative, as the wealthy merchants and aristocrats of London are willing to pay premium prices for fabrics that allow them to distinguish their homes and wardrobes from the merely expensive to achieve a level of luxury and sophistication that money alone cannot usually purchase. And your fabrics provide exactly the kind of unique distinction that appeals to people who already have access to the finest conventional textiles, but crave something truly extraordinary. Your workshop has become a destination that attracts visitors from across Scotland and beyond, as word spreads about the remarkable innovations taking place in this Highland village. And as you give tours to these distinguished guests, sharing your insights and techniques with the generous openness that characterizes all your dealings, you find that your reputation extends far beyond your commercial success to encompass recognition as a contributor to the advancement of textile arts and the preservation of traditional crafts enhanced by innovative approaches. These visitors include not just potential customers and business partners, but scholars and artists and craftspeople who come seeking to understand how you've achieved such remarkable results. And the conversations that result from these encounters broaden your own perspective while establishing your position as a thought leader whose opinions and innovations influence developments throughout the textile industry. The financial success of your enterprise has grown beyond your most optimistic projections, with regular orders now providing income that exceeds what your family has earned in generations. And as you review your account books and contemplate the investments and opportunities that your prosperity makes possible, you feel amazed and grateful to see numbers that represent not just personal wealth, but the resources to pursue even grander visions and to create benefits that extend far beyond your own immediate circle. This financial security provides the foundation for longer-term planning and strategic thinking, allowing you to consider possibilities that would have been impossible when your survival depended on the income from each individual piece, and you begin to envision expansions and innovations that could revolutionize textile production throughout Scotland, while establishing your workshop as the premier destination for the finest fabrics in all of Europe. Your apprentices have developed into skilled craftspeople in their own right, and as you begin to delegate more of the routine production to their capable hands, you find yourself with the time and freedom to focus on research and development, exploring new possibilities that could maintain your competitive advantage while pushing the boundaries of what's possible within the ancient craft of weaving. This evolution from hands-on craftsman to creative director and business leader feels natural and exciting, representing not an abandonment of your roots, but an expansion of your role to encompass not just the creation of beautiful fabrics, but the advancement of the entire field of textile arts and the development of innovations that will benefit craftspeople and customers for generations to come. The special relationships you've developed with the Highland Shepherds have led to discoveries about wool production that no one in the industry has previously understood. And as you work with these knowledgeable people to selectively breed sheep whose fleece possesses even more remarkable properties than what you initially discovered, you begin to see possibilities for creating textiles that will be treasured as heirlooms and passed down through families for centuries. Fabrics so exceptional that they transcend mere commercial value to become works of art that embody the highest achievements of human creativity and technical skill. These collaborative relationships exemplify the abundance mindset that now guides all your business dealings. The understanding that true prosperity comes from creating value for everyone involved rather than simply extracting profit for yourself. And this approach generates loyalty and enthusiasm among your partners that provides competitive advantages no amount of money could purchase. The soft glow of candlelight fills your expanded workshop on this peaceful winter evening as you move quietly among the looms, where your team of skilled weavers continues their work with the dedication and precision that has become the hallmark of your enterprise. And as you observe the coordination and mastery with which they pursue their craft, you feel a profound sense of satisfaction and pride in what you've built together. Not just a business, but a community of artisans whose shared commitment to excellence has created something far greater than any individual could achieve alone. A legacy of craftsmanship and innovation that will influence textile production throughout Scotland and beyond for generations to come. The rhythmic sounds of the shuttles passing through their warps create a symphony of productivity that speaks to the abundance and prosperity that flow naturally when people align their talents with their passion and pursue their work with integrity and dedication. And as you listen to this familiar music of creation, you feel deeply connected to the long tradition of weavers who have created beauty and comfort for their communities while building prosperity through the skilled work of their hands and the creative vision of their hearts. Your personal workshop, now reserved for your most complex and innovative projects, occupies a special corner of the building where large windows allow you to work by natural light during the day, and where the finest oil lamps provide perfect illumination for evening sessions like this one. And as you settle into your favorite chair before your loom, feeling the familiar comfort of this space that has become an extension of your own creative spirit, you begin to reflect on the extraordinary journey that has brought you to this moment of fulfillment and continued possibility. The fabric currently growing on your loom represents your latest innovation, a weaving that incorporates not just the golden thread that first launched your success, but also silver and copper strands that you've discovered possess their own unique properties when worked with the proper techniques and intentions, creating textiles that display a richness and complexity that exceeds anything you've previously created, while pointing toward future possibilities that seem as limitless as your imagination and determination. As you continue adding rows to this masterpiece with the meditative rhythm that has become second nature to you over these months of unprecedented productivity and success, you find yourself naturally entering that deeply peaceful state where creativity flows without effort or strain, where your hands seem to know exactly what to do without conscious direction from your thinking mind, and where time becomes fluid and flexible, expanding to accommodate whatever level of attention and care each section of the work requires. The combination of golden, silver, and copper threads creates effects that shift and change as the light moves across the fabric generating patterns that seem almost alive with their own inner fire. And as you watch these magical displays of color and texture emerge under your skilled hands, you feel a deep connection to something far greater than yourself, an understanding that your individual creativity is part of a larger pattern of human achievement and artistic expression that connects you to craftspeople across cultures and centuries who have dedicated their lives to creating beauty and excellence in the world. Your financial success has grown to proportions that sometimes still amaze you when you pause to consider the numbers that represent your accounts in Edinburgh and London, figures that provide security, not just for yourself, but for your entire extended family and community. And as you contemplate the various investments and opportunities that Duncan and other advisors have helped you identify, you feel grateful for the abundance that allows you to think beyond mere survival, to consider ways of creating lasting value and positive impact that will extend far beyond your own lifetime. The textile mill you're planning to build, using the latest innovations in production technology, will provide employment for dozens of families while incorporating the efficiency advantages of mechanization with the quality control and artistic sensibility that have made your workshop famous throughout Britain. And the apprenticeship program you're developing will ensure that your techniques and approaches continue to benefit future generations of weavers who will carry forward your legacy of innovation and excellence. The relationships you've built throughout your journey have become one of the most rewarding aspects of your success. From the Highland shepherds who provide your special materials to the noble customers who treasure your creations. And as you think about these connections, you realize that prosperity is fundamentally about the web of positive relationships that support and enhance every aspect of your life, creating networks of mutual benefit and shared appreciation that generate opportunities and satisfactions that go far beyond what any individual could achieve through purely solitary effort. The letters you receive from customers expressing their delight with your fabrics bring joy that transcends mere business satisfaction to touch something deeper about the human connection that forms when one person's creativity meets another person's appreciation, creating bonds of understanding and gratitude that enrich both lives in ways that cannot be measured in purely financial terms. Your innovations have influenced textile production throughout Scotland and beyond, with other weavers adapting your techniques and incorporating your discoveries into their own work. And rather than feeling threatened by this imitation, you experience it as validation of the value you've created and confirmation that your contributions will have lasting impact on the development of the craft you love so deeply. The knowledge that your work has elevated the standards and possibilities for an entire industry fills you with a sense of purpose and accomplishment that transcends any purely personal measures of success. And you take deep satisfaction in knowing that young weavers throughout the region are learning techniques and approaches that originated in your workshop and will carry your influence forward into the future in ways you cannot even imagine. As you continue weaving in the peaceful rhythm that has carried you through countless productive hours, adding thread after thread to the growing masterpiece on your loom, you find your mind naturally drifting into a space of deep contentment and anticipation for the future, knowing that you've established patterns of prosperity and abundance that will continue flowing and expanding throughout your life, creating opportunities and possibilities that multiply exponentially as your reputation and capabilities continue to grow. The skills you've developed, the relationships you've built, and the reputation you've earned represent forms of wealth that no external circumstances can diminish. And as you feel this security and confidence flowing through your entire being like warm honey, you realize that true abundance comes not from accumulating possessions, but from developing capabilities and creating value that others treasure, establishing yourself as a source of beauty and excellence that the world recognizes and rewards with continued opportunities for growth and contribution. The golden thread catches the candlelight as you work, creating patterns of illumination that seem to dance across the emerging fabric, like living things celebrating their own existence. And as you watch these shifting displays of light and color, you feel a profound sense of connection to something larger than yourself, an understanding that your individual success is part of a greater pattern of prosperity and possibility that connects all people who pursue their calling with dedication and integrity, who refuse to accept limitations on their potential, and who persist in creating value and beauty regardless of obstacles or setbacks. This recognition fills you with peace and gratitude as you continue your work, knowing that every shuttle pass is not just adding to the fabric on your loom, but contributing to the larger tapestry of human creativity and achievement, creating ripples of positive influence that will extend far beyond your own lifetime to touch lives you will never know in ways you cannot imagine. Your breathing naturally slows and deepens as you settle even more completely into the rhythm of your work, feeling your body relaxing into the familiar comfort of your chair, while your hands continue their skilled movements with the effortless precision that comes from years of practice and refinement, and the workshop around you seems to glow with the warm energy of productive creativity, an atmosphere that represents the manifestation of your deepest intentions and desires, proof that when you align your actions with your authentic purpose and refuse to accept anything less than excellence in everything you do, the universe responds by opening pathways to fulfillment and abundance that exceed your most optimistic dreams. The fabric growing on your loom will eventually find its way to someone who will treasure its beauty and craftsmanship, adding richness and joy to their life, while providing you with the financial return that sustains your continued creativity and innovation. And as you contemplate this cycle of creation and reward, you feel deeply satisfied with your role in this process of mutual benefit and shared prosperity that exemplifies the abundance mindset that now guides every aspect of your life. The work you do matters not just for the immediate results it produces, but for the way it contributes to the larger patterns of beauty and excellence that elevate human experience and inspire others to pursue their own highest possibilities. And as this understanding deepens within you, you feel connected to every person who has ever created something beautiful, every craftsperson who has dedicated their life to excellence, every artist who has refused to accept mediocrity as acceptable, and you know that your work carries forward this tradition while adding your own unique contribution to the eternal human quest for beauty and meaning, and the expression of our highest creative potential. As the evening deepens around you, and the peaceful sounds of the workshop continue their hypnotic rhythm, you find yourself naturally beginning to feel drowsy and content, your body ready for the restorative sleep that will prepare you for another day of creative productivity and continued prosperity. And the knowledge that you wake each morning to work that fulfills your deepest purposes, while providing abundant rewards, creates a sense of anticipation and gratitude that carries you peacefully into sleep, knowing that your dreams will be filled with visions of continued success and expanding possibilities that stretch out before you, like golden threads waiting to be woven into the fabric of your magnificent future.